Hello out there, all you wonderful people. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy. Thank you once again for lending me your time and your ear, listening into another What If video. And I apologize that it's been so long for one of these, for those who have been interested in hearing more of these. This one is something that I think could be a possibility. And it's more or less because I've heard so many people talking about the idea of a Switch Pro and a Switch Mini. And I'm looking like, but there are still yet other possibilities for Nintendo to go as far as hardware. I mean, I've already done a video talking about what if Nintendo does another handheld, or what if Nintendo makes a mobile platform. I've already done those discussions. So the next discussion, as far as hardware is concerned, and this does actually concern the Nintendo Switch, and it's something I don't think too many people actually put stock into or even thought about. But it was something that I thought about actually once the Switch, when the Switch was first announced, and we did find out there was no hardware in the base. And that's it. What if the Nintendo Switch upgrade that everybody's rumoring and talking about and foaming at the mouth to find information on, what if Nintendo is going to just build hardware into a new base for the Switch? One that is basically an upgrade for the Switch when it's at home. So that way you don't have to worry about changing around the hardware of the tablet, but they could go ahead and upgrade it by giving you an upgraded base for it. It's a simple concept, but at the same time, it's something that is a very easy possibility for Nintendo to consider. I mean, if I had this hollow shell that's just basically passively cools this tablet that I have all of my physical hardware in, why wouldn't I want to do a version of it that is actually more hardware capable? Now, I'm not saying that you would be playing games on it by itself, but what I'm saying is, and there is a possibility for them to do a hardware Switch model that looks sort of like the base and the tablet docked into it. And that's why I was trying to say dock. I kept saying base for some reason. If they did an upgraded dock, I don't know why I couldn't figure that word out. But let's just take it into this context. They make a new dock for the Switch, one that has identical hardware in it to what's in the actual tablet. But here's a caveat to that. They also have a slot for an SSD to be put in it. So say that this dock comes with 32 gigabytes of flash memory built into it, and you connect your Switch to the dock. Now you have 64 gigabytes standard for your Switch. You have the 32 that are on the Switch itself. Then you have the 32 that are in the base with all the hardware, and it has some fans in it to keep it cool and stuff like that. So it's powered separately of how the Switch is powered. And I guess that would mean it would need to come with a bigger brick so that it can be powered on its own, and so that it can run the Switch with all the upgrades and stuff that would come with it inside that dock. But it has a space on it for an SSD to be loaded into it. I'm not exactly sure what the smallest SSD is. I'm talking about as far as physical size. I'm not talking about storage capacity. I'm talking physical size. I'm not sure as to what the smallest one is, but I guess like the smallest size that is consumer ready for people to purchase. They could use that and say, okay, well, we've given you this upgraded dock, and what it will do is all of your previous Switch games, whenever you have it docked, it will upgrade your all of your previous games. Will get a graphical boost. You can get a resolution boost up to 4K. You know, everybody's dying over fucking 4K. So you can get it up to 4K. Games that ran at 30 frames per second will now run at 60. And things will look smoother. There'll be better lighting and things for that, HDR and all that, all the bells and whistles like the PS4 Pro has. Because that's basically around the level that they'll push it to. It'll probably be capable of more with the doubled up hardware, but that's as far as they would push it. They wouldn't push it too far graphically, but just enough to get the consumer base that wants that stuff to make them happy. And on top of that, this takes away the excuse for anybody saying, oh, well, we can't make it for the Switch. There's no capability of it running on the Switch, even though so many have proven that to be false too. But still, we take that away. You take that excuse away. Now, this dock would have to be a little bit pricier than the normal standalone dock, which is like $90. So they dropped this dock out at like maybe 175, 175, 200. That's what my guess is as far as the price range on the dock that will have all of the Switch hardware in it, but it wouldn't run without the tablet. So if you don't have the tablet in it, it doesn't operate. So once you plug the tablet in, the fans will kick on and all that because it at this point, I don't know why my throat dried out, but at this point, it has physical hardware in it. So it needs the fans and things in there. It's not like they need to have like any majorly big fans in there, but just enough, like fans and ventilation to keep the hardware that's running cool. Obviously. So they do all this. And yes, with this particular setup, there would have to be games that are exclusive to having the Switch with the new dock. And if you don't have that dock, you can't play those games. I know people would feel like it's unfair and like it's splitting the consumer base, but that gives you the option of purchasing it or not. Like if you want those additional games, you can get them. But like in this way, Nintendo doesn't have to jump and leap to a whole new set of hardware. At least not immediately. Because they have the ability, they have the upgrade that they can literally give you by giving you a new dock. And with that, then here in the US, they would start selling the Switch as a standalone handheld separate of that. And you still get the full library of stuff that is available to the Switch alone. But then you get the dock, which I guess they could call it the Switch Pro dock. For everybody that wants it to be a Switch Pro, they can call it the Switch Pro dock. That way they don't have to charge more money for the Switch itself. And for people who want to get it, they can get it more easily. And they just drop a version of the Switch that comes without dock for $200. And for people who already own the Switch, they drop the dock by itself for about $200. And for those who want to get the Switch Pro setup, which would be the Switch and the Pro dock that has the hardware in it, they drop that for $400. So now they have 3 tiers for people to buy into their platform. They have a $200 price tier, which is just the Switch by itself, the handheld with all that you need to play. Then they have the $300, which was the initial Switch setup that comes with the Switch and the dock, the original dock that just passively cools it so you can display it on your TV. And then you have the Switch Pro setup, which comes with the Switch and the Pro dock and everything else that you need to play. I think that that's a possibility. I think that that's interesting. And then when you have when you have your games, you can have games that are either Switch Pro exclusive, which it would be Switch games with the Pro dock, or Switch Pro enhanced. I guess I'm good at marketing terms, maybe, but Switch Pro enhanced games, which are games that will get a boost that will play on your Switch normally without it, but will get a boost with it. I think that that could be interesting. I think that that could be what happens. I'm not guaranteeing it, But to me, that's a really cool prospect. And if I was Nintendo, I would probably invest in that. That way, you're not necessarily alienating your consumer base because there's always the option to upgrade for the people who want to. But you then give the option to have whatever version of the Switch you particularly want without overloading the tablet itself and putting more money out into technology to boost its capabilities. That would be far more expensive for the consumer and far more expensive for yourself as the company. You want to take the route where you can invest in some stuff, but you don't have to go overboard with your investment. And you can still get a decent return back on it. I think that would be pretty cool. Then with the Switch Pro, the Switch Pro with the dock, you can get stuff like live streaming to YouTube or Twitch or even Mixer because of the because of the relationship that Nintendo has with Microsoft. You can get recording on your console with it docked, as long as you have like as long as you have like an SSD in it, or a USB drive in it that has enough space for it. See, these are the things that I think about that I would think would work. And on top of that, then Nintendo can enhance their own games and even third-party games with this setup, as well as having it be able to be played and run without it. Now, the smart third parties will always go like, well, I'm going to run it with the Switch's base capabilities, which is very much what they're doing right now with the Xbox One and the PS4. They're still catering to the base models of those platforms. But those who decide that they want to pick up an Xbox One X or a PS4 Pro get the additional benefits of those machines. This is the same concept. It is literally the same concept, but done in a Nintendo way. And it would give you more features and more capabilities with your hardware. I personally, again, I think the concept can be done. And I think it would be interesting. I just don't know if that's the route Nintendo's taking. But if they were doing it, if they were to take that route, who would be excited? I mean, I would find it extremely interesting. To be personally honest, I would find it extremely interesting because that would be a way to circumvent everyone's thinking and circumvent everything that they thought that they knew. But at the same time, still staying true to themselves and giving their consumer base what they want without compromising what they are as a company. So there is a happy medium there. But it's one of those things where you just kind of have to sit down and think about it and be like, ooh, that would be cool. And they might be able to do that. I believe they can. And I think that's one of the reasons that they decided to go with USB-C, because it would allow for something like that to be done, as far as I know. I mean, you'd have to check with somebody like Shadow Fox Infinite to be certain, but I do believe they could do it because they found a way to patch video through their USB-C port on their Switch units to go ahead and display on a television. So I honestly don't think it would be too difficult. I mean, like they basically go from USB-C to HDMI. So again, it's something I believe that they're capable of doing. And I think it could be a very cool proposition for them to go ahead and throw out. I'm not saying it's something that they are doing, but it's something that I would love to see them do. And that would, for me, be the Nintendo Switch Pro, where you can add it to a dock that has hardware in it that boosts its capabilities, which was actually what I thought they were originally going to do. But it turned out that's not what they were doing. But who's to say they couldn't do it now? That's the thing I think a lot of people don't want to consider. Like, and it would be a cool, awesome thing to do. And again, this would open up the market for them in ways that it isn't right now. It's not like the Switch isn't selling like hotcakes the way it is. But go like be honest with yourself. If Nintendo decided they were going to put out a Switch, a standalone Switch that would circumvent the need for a Switch Mini, and if they did an update to the dock that to give it hardware, they give it the same give it the same motherboard and internals as the actual Switch tablet, that would circumvent the need for a Switch Pro tablet. It literally beats out the need for it because they would have it with that dock. Now there is a way they could do a standalone home dock for the Switch that works and plays games on its own, that could be upgraded with putting the actual Switch in that same dock. But I would not assume that's what they're going to do. If they could do it, that way you could play your games on the dock without having to put your actual Switch in it, and they just call it the Switch Pro dock. Again, still same thing, same name. And then you can like combining them upgrades it again. It's the same concept, like, but this version of it just has, the slot to be able to play games on it. Like that again is just one of those things I think about, and I think that people would be really interested in, and it would be a lot of fun for a lot of people. So I don't know. Like it's just my thought process. Like, you guys don't have to agree with me. You don't have to see it the same way. But what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that this would be a viable option for Nintendo to give the Switch an upgrade without having to move on to the next hardware? This is barring them. This is barring them taking on the handheld market solo again and just putting out another handheld. If they were to just skip that notion and keep the Switch as their handheld, then yes, they would do a standalone Switch and then an upgrade to the dock that would be able to upgrade their system and be able to push it to do more. And then, yes, there would be some games that would be exclusive to that, like I said, because they just wouldn't be able to run on the Switch by itself. But the option is there. So, again, what do you guys think? Give me your comments in the comment section below, or you can join my Discord, which is listed in the description, or you can hit me up on MeWe, because Google Plus is dead, unfortunately. Or you can reach out to me on Twitter. All of that stuff, links down in the description, anywhere you want to hit me up. But thank you guys very much for listening. Keep your eyes and ears out for more stuff from me. And until the next time, please enjoy your games. Peace out.